Hi y'all, it's Julie. Welcome to Hello Monday. In last week's webisode, we stamped on microfine glitter using the burnished velvet technique to get the glitter onto the paper, and then we stamped on it and we colored on it with Copics. And I mentioned that you should save the lining paper, and now I get to show you why. So even if I don't use the liner paper on a particular project that I'm working on, I always save it because those bits can be used to actually punch or die cut from. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is take a piece of Neenah Solar White. This was just something I had in my scrap bin. I always save usable size scraps for stuff like this, and I'm just going to trim it to size. I think this is about 2.5 by 4.25 in height. I didn't really measure it, so I just eyeball it and like, oh, that looks good. I do a lot of things that way, so bear with me when I don't have precise measurements. So now we've got that tape on there and we've got that liner paper, and you want to set aside the piece that has the exposed tape somewhere safe where it's not going to get any kind of junk all over it and ruin the adhesive. So just be very careful about that. Now I'm going to put the dies that I'm working with, these are by Savvy Stamps, I'm going to put them onto the liner paper, and I'm actually going to use some washi tape to hold them to the cutting pad because the stuff is really slippery and the dies just slide off and they get out of place when I send it through the machine. So I like to use washi tape to kind of anchor everything down and keep it from slipping and sliding all over in the machine. And then I'm going to pop these out. Now these are going to become what I call glitter masks. I don't know what anybody else calls them. Hopefully they call them the same thing, but that's what I'm going to call them. Now my flower is going to be in the foreground, so as I'm laying it down onto the exposed adhesive, I want to make sure that whatever I want in the forefront gets masked off first. And I'm going to use an extra piece of that liner paper that I have sitting in, that's probably the piece that was left over from last week's project. I'm going to use that to help me burnish things down so I don't get my fingertips on the naked adhesive, because I don't want the oil from my fingertips to neutralize the adhesive. So you do need to be careful in that regard. So now I'm going to go ahead and lay my grass, and I actually cut 2 pieces of grass, and again I had scrap of the liner paper that I just kind of saved for purposes like this. So I cut 2 pieces of grass, and now I'm just going to burnish those over the top of the flower. And you want to make sure you've got all the edges down very firmly before you proceed to the next step. Now we're working in reverse order. We're going to start with the sky, and I'm using some Ocean Spray microfine glitter, and I love this color. It's kind of a teal blue green color. I just love it. It's so gorgeous. And I'm going to actually apply the glitter over the top, and I burnished it very, very firmly into the tape with my fingertips, but I was careful not to snag any of those masks and pull them up accidentally. And then I'm going to take a brush, after I've squeegeed off the excess, I'm going to take a brush and really work it in there to brush off the excess glitter that may be floating around on the surface, because I want a very smooth velvety finish, just like we did in last week's video. And then I'm going to funnel the excess back into a jar. Now this is the kind of glitter that you're probably never going to get all of it back into the jar. It's okay. This stuff will last you forever. But get as much of it as you can back into the jar, and then I'm just using a Swiffer because I can't figure out where my glitter magnet cloth has gone. So I'm just using a Swiffer to clean up the surface. And then for the next color, I'm going to use a clean or brand new piece of typing paper, or I'm going to very thoroughly clean the piece I used before because I don't want any cross-contamination of my glitters. So now we're going to do the grass. So this is the next layer moving up. So we're starting from the back and working our way up the layers, or working in reverse order, back to front. So now comes the grass, and I'm going to add the grasshopper glitter. This is like one of my all-time favorite microfine glitter colors. It's so yummy. And green is my favorite color, as you know. Or if you know me, you know that. So now I'm going to burnish it in really well, and then I'm going to squeegee off as much of the excess with my fingers that I can. So as you can see, I've still got some electricity causing that green glitter to stick to the Ocean Spray. So I'm just going to come in with my nice soft brush, and I'm going to work it into the across the surface to actually remove as much excess as I possibly can, so that I get a really nice clean application of the glitter color, so they aren't like blended into each other. And then I'm going to funnel this back into the jar. I'm going to repeat this process for every layer. I'm going to funnel it back in, clean off that scratch paper, or get a piece of fresh scratch paper for the next color. So one thing I do want to mention, if you have any fuzzes, you know, like lint or anything that shows up in the glitter pile, use your tweezers to pick those out and throw them away so that your glitter stays as clean as possible when you put it back in the jar. So now I'm going to take the stem, and I just pulled up the stem part and then I clipped it off. Now normally I wouldn't do that because I like to save my masks, and you can save these. But in this instance, I wanted the stem to be a different color from the top of the flower or the blossom itself. So I went ahead and cut it off, and I'm not going to worry about it. I can always cut another sliver of that liner paper if I ever need a stem like that again. And then I'm going to go ahead and add the orange poppy glitter to the flower head. Now I'm going to go ahead and be very careful. This is a very delicate flower. So it's going to take a little bit of work there to get underneath it with my tweezers and pull it up without tearing it if I want to reuse it. If I didn't care about reusing it, I would just, you know, go ahead and just kind of pretty much rip it off very quickly. But I was like, oh, I could save that and use that again for something else. So I'm going to be careful. And then I'm going to take that orange poppy glitter. This is going to give me my really bold blossom there on top. Again, burnishing in with my fingers. It's your fingertips and the oil from your skin there, the natural oils, that helps burnish that glitter right into the tape. And that's the kind of coverage that you want. And again, I'm going to squeegee it into the surface, and it's going to feel kind of gritty. And then I'm going to go ahead and take my brush, and once again, I'm going to very firmly brush away the excess color so that I have a nice clean blue, nice clean green glitter effect without any of the orange showing up in the blue. So here you can see just how much of a difference it makes when you use that soft brush to get the excess glitter off. Isn't that sparkly and beautiful? I just love it. Oh, and then I'm going to take a piece of black cardstock, and this isn't even a full-size mat. Sometimes I just like to accent the sides. I don't get too crazy on my cards. I layered this onto a wood grain embossed white card front. I love this paper. I love wood grain too, so I thought it looked really pretty, these kind of nature themes going together. And then I die cut some little tiny white butterflies using a memory box die with little teeny tiny butterflies, and it did a whole bunch of them all in one fell swoop for me, so I could just kind of take my pick of the different shapes and just glue those into place with some glossy accents. And that'll take just a few minutes to set up, and then it will create a really nice strong bond there. And I just wanted to put the centers glued down so that the wings would pop up. But isn't that a stunning effect? I just love it, and I hope you'll give it a try. Thanks for watching.